First and foremost, we say our praises, glory, honor, power, be unto the Most High, YAHAWAH, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. We say, Kwam Yashala, Kwam Yashala, Kwam Yashala, Kwam Yashala. Shalom to our brother and sister. Shalom to our brethren. Shalom to the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indians scattered throughout the fucker of this earth. Right? Hey, with the Israelite, we represent the 12 tribes of Israel scattered throughout the fucker of this earth, the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian, according to your father, number 118. All right? You are what your father is, so we just want to put out there. Without any further ado, we want to put out there for YouTube. So YouTube, if you have music in the background, it's not my music, okay? Disclaimer, it's not my music. I do not order music, and I'm not playing the music. It's not my music. We just want to put out there, all right? So let's see. We're going to give glory, honor, power be unto the Most High, right? And we do so by bringing out the word of the Most High, right? Our job of duty is to rebuke the rebellious of our people, right? They don't learn one, right? Those that are still blind, they follow just the money, right? When they wake up every day, they think about the money. When they wake up, they think about money, how they're going to make money, right? They don't think about the Most High. They don't bless the Most High. They don't give glory unto the Most High, all right? So, without any further ado, let us go right here. This is what the Most High commanded that we do, right? And that's why we come out here, right? We come out here to warn the people. We try and let them know that's the Most High. So whether the people believe it, whether they want to hear or not, this is our job. Let's go in the book of Deuteronomy, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Let's go to it, right? We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, right? Let's read it. This is the book of Deuteronomy, right? This is unto the Israelites, the so-called blacks, African American, the so-called Nigerian, Ghanaian, Togolese, Mexican, Salvadoreño, and the list goes on and on and on. Let's read it. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verses 1. Now therefore hearken, O Israel, O Israel. So you got to keep in mind, all right? A lot of you out there, you call yourself Christian. You are not Christian, okay? You are an Israelite, right? And you are not African American, understand that, right? African American, that's two continents, all right? How can you be from two continents? It makes no sense, right? It's just what we call common sense, right? But the wicked, the enemy, since we disobey the Most High, we will not keep the commandment. We will not love the Most High. He delivers us into the hand of what? The enemy. Right? And that's the main reason why you see the so-called blacks, the so-called African American, the so-called Latino and everything, they're lost. They don't know who they are. They call themselves Latino. Some call themselves blacks. Some say they're Mexican. They don't know who they are. They don't know. Right? They don't know who they are. All right? So let us continue. He said, unto the statutes and unto the judgment which I teach you. So what did the Most High taught us? The Most High taught us was statute and judgment. Righteousness, that's what the Most High did, man. The Most High, he did not teach us to celebrate Halloween. Halloween, that's for Satan, that's for the devil. The Most High did not teach us to celebrate Thanksgiving, all right? The Most High did not teach us. He did not teach us to celebrate happy birthday, Valentine's Day, Christmas. No, the Most High never done so. He never. Who teach you? Who taught you all this wickedness? The slave master, right? Esau, Edom, the oppressor, which you will see soon. They're about to see the oppressor, all these oppressors, the oppressor of the so-called African American, the so-called Latino, right? The so-called Beninese, Nigerian, Ghanaian. They're about to cease. The Most High about to cut them off. All you got to make sure you're doing is that you're lining up with the Most High. You're keeping the commandment the best that you can. Don't follow the way of the heathen. Not bringing a pumpkin into the house. Don't do it. Don't bring no wicked costume. Don't bring no costume. Don't buy no costume to your son and your daughter. If you love them and if you love yourself and if you love the Most High. Now, if you don't love yourself, you can buy your pumpkin and you cover all you want. If you don't love your own self, right? If you hate your own self, then you can buy your pumpkin. Then you can celebrate Halloween. Then you can buy candy, right? You can do all the wickedness you want to do if you hate your own self. It's plain and simple, right? Repent, right? So let's read it. He said, which I teach you for to do them. So the Most High, he taught us his judgment, his statutes, and his commandment, so that we can do them, not just to read them. And now we got a lot of our people out there in the Christian church. They've been deceived. They were taught, right? They were given a strong wine. So they're drunken right now. No, alcohol. But they're drunk on the lie, the philosophy of the Christian church, the politician, the list goes on and on. Into believing that what? The laws are done away with it. Guess what? If the law are done away with it, why would then the Most High judge the earth? Why would the Most High Yahawah, why would he judge the earth? You gotta understand it, alright? So let's continue. He said, for to do them, that ye may live. The only way you're going to live is not to celebrate Thanksgiving, is not to celebrate Christmas, is not to install any idols. All your Christmas tree, your garment, your ornament, your decoration, you put up all your gift that you be buying. Guess what? You do it for Satan, understand it? Right? The Most High said, learn not the way of the heathen. You're doing it for Satan. And the Most High, he'll cut you. He'll destroy you. Keep in mind. Now, it's up to you if you want to follow the Most High or you want to follow Satan. It's up to you. Right? It's up to you. We're not forcing you, but we're warning you. We're giving you warning. Are we judging you? No, this is not a judgment. Did I say to throw you in a jail? Did I say you're speeding, that you need to go to the jail, or I'm going to give you a ticket? No. So what is the judgment? A judgment when somebody say, let's suppose you steal. Let's suppose you steal right now. Then I say, you know what, put him to death. That's what we call judgment. Now, if you steal and I tell you, bro, don't steal no more. You should not be stealing. Like if you're smoking and I tell you, bro, don't smoke. Am I judging you? I'm not judging. If I tell a sister, you cannot wear makeup. Am I judging the sister? No. I'm correcting the sister. I'm rebuking the sister. Right? You got to understand. You got to discern when you're talking about judgment. The government is judging you all day long. You don't say anything. You don't run your mouth with the government. The police, they pull you over, they give you a ticket, they're judging you, right? Even though you don't speed, sometimes they say you're speeding. They'll lie. They'll make up the speed up or whatever. You know, hey, you got to keep in mind. So you got to understand the word. Fully understand before you start jumping, right? Don't just jump and say things. Don't do that. If you don't know what is the real meaning of the word, you go to the dictionary, right? This day you can look up everything online, man. All right, so you got to keep that in mind. So I'm not judging you. I'm correcting you. I'm edifying you. I'm building you up, right? I'm giving you love. I'm helping you to work for your own salvation. It's plain and simple. So don't get it twisted. I'm not judging you. I'm correcting you, all right? He said that ye may live, right? And go in and possess the land which the Lord Yahawah of your fathers giveth you. So it's plain and simple, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 1 and 3. Same book, Deuteronomy 1 and 3. Let's go to it. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verses 3. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verses 3. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel. Though you got to keep in mind that Moses, he did not say, you know, the pastor. He said Moses, okay? Moses, the prophet of the Most High, spake unto the children of Israel, according unto all that the Lord had given him in commandment unto them. So the Most High commanded that we keep his commandment. The Most High commanded that we do righteousness, right? The Most High commanded that we do that which is righteous, all right? Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. Right, let me read verses 2, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verses 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you. And that's why a lot of y'all, you do out there, man, in a Christian church, you adding up to the word of the Most High. The Most High, he called his people what? Israelite. And all essentially, you calling the people of the Most High, you calling them Christian. Why are you adding it up, man? Right? So you got to keep in mind. You said the law done away with. But the scripture said the law are forever. The law of the Most High endure forever, man. Otherwise, how would the Most High be able to judge the earth? How would the Most High judge the earth if the law done away with? That's what we call chaos. There will be chaos, man. Yes, really. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments, that ye may keep the commandment, all right, of the Lord your Yahawah, which I command you. So we got to keep the commandment, not just lying, deceiving yourself, running your mouth, saying that, well, I'm a Christian, I go to the church, blah, blah, blah. No, man. You're wasting your time. If you're a Christian, hey, you need to be born again, man. You need to be born again. You got to be born again. You got to understand that. You got to be fully born again. You got to be born again. Let's go to 12 and 32. Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 32. Right? Let's go to it. Right? This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 32. Deuteronomy 12 and 32. What things soever, okay? What things soever, all right? So keep in mind, what things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. So it's plain and simple, man. You cannot be adding on to the word of the Most High, all right? The Lord not done away with it. How do we know? It's written word. It's a little written word when you go in the book of Baruch, man. It's in Baruch chapter 4. So this time we're living, as you already know, man, is a pagan season. It's a pagan season. The time of weakness, all right? Because a lot of y'all don't know. You see what is going on? You see what rumors of wars. You hear of rumors of war, right? China flying, warplane over Taiwan, Taiwan getting massacred, New Zealand, Australia, England, the USA, they're flashing massive. They're flashing the massive. They're getting ready for some. That's why you got to make sure you're keeping the commandment of the Most High. That's why you got to make sure that you're keeping the commandment of the Most High. If you ain't keeping it, this is the high season that you start keeping the commandment of the Most High. This is the high season that you start keeping the commandment. Because you don't know when the Most High will take you. You can die today, right? You can die tomorrow. You don't know, man. And that's the main reason why we tell the brother, make sure you're keeping the commandment. You got to make sure you're keeping the commandment of the Most High.
Ahora vuelta de cámara. Pero con él que va a jugar es más bueno que México. Ajá. A ver cómo le va. Primeramente Dios ganemos.
You got to make sure you're keeping the commandment of the Most High. All right? You got to make sure you're keeping the commandment of the Most High. You got to make sure that you're keeping the commandment of the Most High. You got to make sure. And a lot of you out there, you think that the Most High, he's a God of emergency, right? When you get in trouble, when you get arrested, when your son get killed or your daughter get killed or any evil happen, all of a sudden, you want to know God. And right after the Most High take care of whatever you're going through, guess what? You just toss the Most High again through the window. Understand that the Most High is not a God of emergency. You gotta understand that. The Most High Yahawah, He's not your God of emergency, okay? Your father can be for your emergency. Your boss, right? Your friend, your wife, they can be for just emergency. But understand that the Most High, He's not a God of emergency. Or you're going to serve Him constantly. You got to grow up. You got to grow up. You got to go higher. You got to draw nigh unto the Most High, man. You can't stay on the same level. Right? You got to grow up. You got to go a little bit more higher. All right? Let's go right here. Let's go right here. This is the book of Deuteronomy. Why do we do what we do today? The so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian. What's wrong with us? What is the issue? Right? Black on black crimes. Right? Latino on Latino. Black versus Latino. Latino versus black. Violence, witchcraft, idolatry. You see all type of weakness and nonsense in our community. I don't understand. I acknowledge that Esau, he pushed for those things through the TV, you know, the mainstream media, you know, the social media. Hey, I understand that. But hey, brother and sister, you got to remember that what the Most High said, man. Don't follow the way of the heathen. Don't learn the way of the heathen. The Most High told us, do not follow the multitude to sin. Don't do it. You can't do it. Now, if you're doing it, that means you choose to do it. So you are without excuse. The vast majority of our people today, guess what? They heard of the Israelites. They heard, at least in every family, in every of the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian, right? At least someone heard of the Israelites. At least someone heard. Or they came across them. Or they came across the YouTube video. Right? You gotta understand. This work is growing. This work is growing slowly. It's growing. It's exploding. And that's why the power there be the concern is scared. Esau Edom is scared. Esau is scared. Esau knows he's running out of time. Esau, they understand that they're running out of time. Esau, they do understand that they're running out of time and that there is no time for them. Gracias, 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 hermano. Que Dios te bendiga. That it is about to be too late now. Oh, gracias, gracias, gracias. Que Dios te bendiga, Señor. That it is about to be too late, right? It's about to be too late because Esau, they're happy that they were able to conquer the Native Indian and the so-called blacks. Esau, they're happy. Let me prove it. Let's go in the Bible, because the Bible, it tells you everything. It's just that you got to be able to love the Most High. If you can't love the Most High, you can't keep the commandment, then you cannot understand the Bible, right? So let's go right here. Right, let's go right here. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to go to verses 1. I'm going to go straight to verse 49. Okay? Actually, 48. Deuteronomy 28, 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemy. So that's what the Most High say. So who do we serve today? A lot of you out there, you're working for Microsoft, you're working for Honda, you're working for all this office job, whatever, and you think that you're doing something amazing, right? That's how you feel. You think that you all high up there. No, listen, man, you're a slave, understand that? Okay, just keep in mind, you are a well-trained slave, understand that, man? Okay? Moses, he did not work for Esau. Where can you read that in the Bible? You gotta understand that. Abraham, he did not work for Esau. He did not work for the Ishmaelite neither. Okay, I understand that. They work for him. They work for him. So you gotta understand, a lot of you out there, where you got all this title, right? Some of you so-called black, African American, so-called Latino, you went to school, you get your piece of paper, which is the so-called your degree, or your certificate, your license, whatever you get, your license to operate your business, or you work for the CIA, you got clearance from the government, where you think like, well, you know, you got power, you're good, you're living good, you got it good to know, man, come on. You're a slave, understand that, okay? You're just a slave, double slave. You slave spiritually and you slave physically. I mean, understand this, man, okay? The Most High said, the Most High did not say, he didn't say that, well, you know, you're going to have your own business. No, the Most High said, you going to serve your enemy. So you got to understand, it's basic English. It's basic English. Basic English, understand that? Basic English. Let me read it again, because a lot of you out there, you don't understand. Oh, you in suit and tie, and you all have, you think that, well, you know, you in suit and tie, and you working out, you all cocky, you think that, yeah, look, listen, man, you wasting your time. Okay, you wasting your time. You're just a slave, understand that? You are a well-trained slave. Don't you understand when you go to this school, you cannot operate on your own? Right? I studied civil engineering. Before I can practice civil engineering here in America, in the state, guess what? There is an exam I have to take. It's like a license. Without that, even though you take all these classes, all this credit, whatever you be smart, you name it, guess what? You cannot operate as a civil engineer. You cannot operate. So ISO got to give you what? The license. They got to give you a piece of paper that will allow you to be able to operate, to do work. Understand that? If you're a nurse, now guess what? You got to be certified nurse. Now there's a nurse that work under the table, wherever you name it, hey, it is what it is. But if you really want to work, you want to be out there, guess what? You got to be certified. That's why it's so understand. When you're going through all those things, do you think it's something like, do you think like it's like some like amazing achievement? No, man. That's not an amazing achievement. You know what is amazing achievement? If you repent and you keep in the commandment of the Most High. If you don't celebrate Halloween, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you don't celebrate Christmas, you don't celebrate New Year, you don't celebrate Mother Day, Father Day, then I'll say, wow, that's amazing, okay? Right? We want people like that, people that love the Most High. We want to follow people that keep the law, the commandment of the Most High. We don't want to follow you because you work for the government, you work for the CIA, like you're the CEO of Microsoft, or because you're the CEO of Google, because you're the CEO of blah, blah, blah. Listen, man, it's vain. All those is vain, man. We don't get impressed by that. When we used to be Christian, when we used to be a child, yeah, we were impressed by those stuff. This day, man, we look at you like nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right? Regardless, whether it be your title, whether it be your position, whatever. Listen, we don't take it like so as something. Right? We just look at you as you are a well-trained slave. A well-trained slave. Point blank, period. That's what the Most High said. So a lot of you out there is the same thing. Take a look at the brother and the sister that sold their soul. They sold their soul just to be in the music industry, just to be in the movie, just to be on the TV, just to make all this fake money. Guess what? They cannot operate on their own. Esau still got them behind. They can't do anything unless Esau allow them to do so. You got to understand that. So don't get it twisted when you get this job, or maybe you're working here, you get there where you feel like, well, you know what? Hey, man, I'm living good. You know, you ain't living no good, buddy. Until you know the truth, you are not living good. You a slave, man. YAHAWAH said, well, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. What is going to make you free? It's not your job, it's not the money. It's the Bible, the law of the commandment, because you won't be slave anymore to the sin. You cannot be given no more to sin. You gotta understand that. So it is the basic thing that we're trying to give to our people. You don't run your mouth. So understand that regardless of your job, ye so-called blacks, African American, ye so-called Latino, guess what? You are a well-trained slave. A well-trained slave. Where? Harvard University, from where? Harvard University, James Madison University, GMU, George Mason, Washington, and you name it. You name it. Okay, Strayer University, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. All right? So let's read what the Most High says. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. So who sent Esau against the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian? Who sent them? Who sent Esau, Edom, Idumea against the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian? It's the Most High, man. The Most High sent them. That's why they conquer you. That's why they give you Spanish. That's why you speak Spanish. The reason why you speak Spanish, French, and English is because the Most High sent Esau against us. You know why? Because we will not listen to the Most High. The reason why the Most High sent Nebuchadnezzar, the reason why the Most High sent Nebuchadnezzar against our people back in those days is because we will not listen to the Most High. We won't keep the commandment. So the Most High said, you know what? I got this. You ain't got to worry. The Most High, he declared the end from the beginning. Understand that? So the Most High, he sent Esau, Edom. He sent the so-called Arab, right? The Ishmaelites. The Most High is sending them against us. Why? Because we don't want to keep the commandment. Because we don't want to keep the commandment. So understand that. Don't think because you got this job for the government or you got clearance, well, blah, 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 I'm in the Navy, I'm in the blah, 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 all this, yeah, I'm a general, blah, blah, blah. Listen, man, you wasting your time. Okay? You wasting your time. Okay? There's more better thing than that, man. Righteousness. Keep the commandment. Know who you are. Know which nation you belong to according to the Bible. Love yourself. Right? So it's the Most High who sent them. So don't think because you get this job, you apply for the job. No. The Most High wants you to serve them. Understand that? The Most High wants us to serve them. Why? Because we don't want to obey the Most High. So you know what? The Most High said, you know what? I'm going to send my enemy against you, man. So stop being proud. A lot of you out there, Latino, Latina, blacks, African American, Nigerian, Beninese, Togolese, Ghanaian, you so proud. Don't be proud. You a slave. Okay? You are a well-trained slave. Understand that. You can do anything on your own, man. You got to read your email. The boss got to tell you what to do. If you don't follow, guess what? They're going to terminate you. They're going to fire your behind. Okay? You're going to lose that job. Then you're going to look for another slavery job. Understand that, man. Understand that. So don't be proud. Don't be cocky. Humble yourself, man. Because you are not in the rulership right now. The so-called blacks, Latino, and Native, we are not in position of power right now. No, man. We are a bunch of slaves. Bunch of slaves. Bunch of slaves. Understand that? All right? That's what the Most High said. He said, the Lord shall, he said, therefore shall thyself thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and in the want of all things, man. Right? And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So you gotta understand that, man. That's what the Most High say. The Most High said you need water, you need to buy your clothing, you need to feed your children, you need to, anything you need, okay? You're gonna be serving your enemy. Slavery. Understand that, man. Some of you think that what? Because Esau, he came out in, I think it was in 1846, right? If I'm not wrong, 1846, right? Around that time, where they said that they abolished slavery. No, the Bible didn't say that. The Bible didn't say that slavery will be abolished like that. No. It's when Christ come back. When Christ, YAHAWAH, when he returned, and you be saved, you be among those that will be saved, then you can say that when slavery is abolished. But until then, guess what? You see a slave, buddy. You are still a slave. It's not because of 1848, right? It's a bunch of Edomites, the same devil. They sat down on the table somewhere where they say Victor Churchill, blah, 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 all this, that. Like, okay, well, they abolished slavery. No, don't believe it. You see a slave, brother. If you are not a slave, why do you need to pay taxes? You break that down for me, buddy. You break that down, okay? If you are not a slave, why you need to pay taxes on water? Why you being taxed when you buy flour, right? Why you being taxed when you buy oil? Why you being taxed when, you buy a car, right? When you buy a chicken, you buy a goat, you being taxed. You still got to pay taxes, and you running your mouth thinking, well, you ain't no slave. You a slave, a good slave, actually. That's what the Most High said. You are a good slave. You